Good evening, and welcome to another big music show here on NVTV. Now, coming up on the show this week, we'll be meeting Belfast singer-songwriter Robb Murphy. From Derry, Oisin O'Scully will be live in the studio. And starting things off this week with a track called Down at Ellie Mays, here is Tony Villiers and the Villains.
Hey, where's the light that you promised in the middle of the night? And hey, where's the dawn that you promised was coming along? It's down at Ellie Mays. Yeah, down at Ellie Mays. Hey, there's a gypsy jazz queen riding on a white horse through the back of my dreams. And I don't have to worry when I'm howling at the moon. And I don't have to finish anything real soon. When I'm down at Ellie Mays. Yeah, I'm down at Ellie Mays. Where the doors are always open, where the fires are always raging, and the troubles of this world seem furthest from my mind. Down at Ellie Mays. This ain't goodbye. I know we'll meet again in another time. But until then, my dear sweet friend, farewell and adieu till the bitter end. Meet me down at Ellie Mays. Meet me down at Ellie Mays. Where the doors are always open, where the fires are always raging, and the troubles of this world seem furthest from my mind. Down at Ellie Mays.
So that's a track called Down at Ellie Mays from Tony Villiers and the Villains. And Tony joins me in the studio. Hi, Tony.
Hello, Robin. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So tell us about that song, Down at Ellie Mays. What about the background to that?
Background to that song is comes from a poem that I had washing around my head for quite a while and incorporates several people that I've met throughout my life, and a sort of a yearning for a journey. That the grass is greener, you know. It was written, sort of completed about a year ago or so, and I recorded my latest album, put it on it, just sat down with the acoustic, and have recently brought in the band with the bits and pieces around it.
So tell us about the band. How did you get the guys all together?
Well, it was it's sort of, you pick and choose, you headhunt in a sense, and in this game, I've sort of played the slow game. We started off, I met Kevin maybe 5-6 years ago, heard him playing the bass, thought that man is just ace on the bass, you know, excuse the pun. And we hooked up for the Seven Hills Blues Festival in Armagh 5 or 6 years ago, and we've been we did duos and stuff like that there. And then I met a guitarist from Armagh called Paul Meehan. He played with us for a year or two, brilliant guitarist, and he recommended Aidan McGillian.
Yeah.
He said he would fit in with our sound, and Paul was spot on. Aidan just fitted right in. He'd get the vibe and the whole groove of the group. And about a year and a half ago, I had the pleasure, I'd met Doc up in Port Stewart at the Port Stewart Atlantic Songwriters Festival, I think it was. And I heard him play then in the Black Box, and I thought, he's the guitarist that I'm looking for, you know. He's just a jewel, you know. And so the whole thing sort of came together, and over the last year or so, we've a residency in the American Bar in Belfast.
Which is doing really well, I hear.
Very well, yeah, every third Saturday. We started off, it was quite quiet, as residencies often are, but now we've packed out the door, you know. So, and we've sort of honed our craft live in front of a live audience. So that's where that band has we've matured into where we are now and where you find us today.
So the new album, Music Confounds the Machines, interesting title. Where did it come from?
Everybody picks up on that one, Robin. Yeah, that comes from a friend of mine, George Larimer, sent me, it's an essay or a speech by T-Bone Burnett. He was given to the American Music Society or music group or something like that. And it was entitled Music Confounds the Machines, and that immediately attracted my attention. And it basically outlines the dynamic or lack of dynamic between the industry as we know it, music industry and art, and how art is being homogenized, if you like, by the digital world. So there was a sort of nice synergy between that and bringing the record out. It sort of just popped out. So yeah, thank you, T-Bone.
And then you're doing the Belfast City Blues Festival.
We are, yeah, 1st of July at Bootleggers, I think mid-afternoon, 3:30 p.m. It's a great festival. We played it a couple of years ago up in Writers Square and had a great time. It's very well run. And
you're doing the festival circuit this year for the summer?
We are, yeah. We have, we're booked, we're playing Stendhal on I think it's the 11th of August. And we're the resident band at the Open House Festival in Bangor. So we're on the 3rd of August, we're playing the Waterboys after show party at Donegan's. Brilliant. And then every Friday after that for I think it's 5 nights.
Will you do one more track before you go?
Absolutely, no problem.
What are you going to do this time?
We're going to do Mexico.
What's the story behind Mexico?
Mexico, again, yearning, a journey, and a state of mind, Robin.
And I believe it's a track people have been talking about, because I heard it in rehearsals, and there's a little feeling of Van Morrison's Astral Weeks to it, I think.
I've been getting sort of feedback like that, yeah. Scott Edgar at Folk and Tumble picked up on that, yourself. You know, we get that sort of Van Morrison vibe, which is a great compliment, obviously. Of course, one of the head honchos in the music, in the world, like a Belfast cowboy. Goodness me, he's a hero of mine and many people, and I first saw him, The Last Waltz, I think it was, when I was in my early teens, and I thought, this is just out of this world.
Still is one of the greatest concert movies of all time, isn't it?
It is just, you can watch it on a loop.
Tony, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Robin. Thanks for having us, man.
Thank you.
Thanks a million.
So here we go, one more time. Tony Villiers and the Villains and a track called Mexico.
Heading out for the West Coast. Long, long live Mexico. Left my heart in the wilderness, summer down on the East Coast. Long, long live Mexico. Set you did the miles in the beat-up car. Long, long live that old road. Stuck here somewhere betwixt and tween, still hunting down that New York dream. Long, long live Mexico. Set your spirit free. Give your heart to me. Don't you know, ain't no man coming around. 'Cause the future is up to you. You can do what you wanna do. You can plant a seed or plant a bomb. Set your spirit free. Give your heart to me. Don't you know, ain't no man coming around. 'Cause the future is up to you. You can do what you wanna do. You can plant a seed or plant a bomb.
Sat by the window, grey clouds up above, will it rain today? The world's waking up and I feel I'm missing a brand new day. I lost my home today. I lost my home today. I wanna take away the night. I wanna leave behind all the echoes of the day. Don't wanna be weak, but I'm hopeful for this year. I will sleep tonight. Put on my black jeans, open the top drawer. Who will I be today? An overdone man with too many plans and a need for change. I lost myself today. I lost myself today. I wanna take away the night. I wanna leave behind all the echoes of the day. Don't wanna be weak, but I'm hopeful for this year. I will sleep tonight. But maybe it's hard for a soul. Maybe it's hard for a soul. Maybe it's hard for a soul. Maybe it's hard. I am able, I am willing, I am hopeful, I am stronger, I am patient, I am grateful.
So that's a track called Asleep Tonight, which is also the brand new single from Rob Murphy, and the man himself joins me in the studio. Welcome.
Thanks very much for getting us on.
So tell us all about the new single then.
So the new single called Sleep Tonight is the title track from the album, which we released nearly 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, which was also called Sleep Tonight. So this will probably be the last single from this album. We've released 3 or 4 from it. So this song itself, we've actually teamed up with the Samaritans to release it, and we're donating all the money that we receive from it to the Samaritans. It's quite a long song itself. It's about 6.5 minutes,
Right.
Which is not your usual radio edit pop song. But the Ulster String Quartet were involved in this album, and they feature quite heavily in this song. The song and the album actually has themes throughout it of mental health issues and positivity and getting through the stresses of life and sort of working towards hope. And this song itself is probably one of the most prominent on it about that. During the album recording, my mother had passed away, and she had dealt with mental illness for many years. So this came at a time where it was quite hard for me to continue, but I wanted to push through it. And now 4 or 5 years later, I'm able to talk about it, and hopefully then give back, and maybe other people will get something from this, some kind of awareness of mental health. We released an animation with this as well by Maria Beckfar. And this project, the animation and the release, actually started about 2 years ago. We had to work closely with the Samaritans as they have certain guidelines to go with. And weirdly, whenever we're coming to the release, there was various actually musicians who have committed suicide, and it was just it came at a time where it actually meant more to release this. And mental health is everywhere. It affects everyone, but we don't seem to talk about it. And it is hard to understand unless you've had experience from it. So yeah, it is a prominent time to do it. So hopefully, doing a bit, this will maybe do something.
I suppose the best way to do it is through music, because everybody reacts to music in some way, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. People use music in various ways, and they're into it in various sort of levels. Even if it's just that you enjoy it and it's a break from the normal and you have a good time, that's great. But the music we write is primarily lyrical. So hopefully people who are into lyrics and maybe had a tough time can relate to the music element, but also the lyrical element. And we always try to portray an element of hope near the end of the song.
So over the past 4 or 5 years, you've really been gathering momentum. You're getting lots of great reviews, picking up a good fan base as well. Was it a hard struggle to get to that stage?
Yes, it always is a hard struggle. Being an unsigned artist, and I try to make this my main thing, but I also have to work and pay bills. Music, doesn't really do that, unfortunately, at this stage. So the past couple of years, we've been gigging as much as we can, creating a lot of content, video and audio, and this is all self-funded. And then we also tour each year. We go to Netherlands. This year we're going to Netherlands and Germany, and I think Copenhagen as well. And we do as many gigs as we can here. So we're just amping up. We're building up, and as this is the last single from that album, and we're moving into to new songs and maybe something that'll be a bit more accessible to people. We just thought we'd give this a massive push to promote the song and the album, and obviously that's how music works. You know, some people come on board that haven't heard of me before, and then can go back. And this is the second album, Sleep Tonight, so they can go back to the first album, which was more experimental and me sort of playing around in the studio by myself. And then hopefully we'll take that to another level each time as more people get interested.
So was music always a huge part of your life right from a young age?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as a kid, I remember my mum and dad playing a lot of songs on the record player. I remember my granda always sitting in the corner listening to record on his player, which we actually have now. And yeah, I remember my mum setting out pots and pans for me and a couple of spoons, and I'm playing away on that there, probably creating a racket. And then as I moved through primary school and high school, I started to take lessons in trumpet and some brass instruments. Got a keyboard for Christmas. My brother started playing guitar then, and I thought that was much more cool than the trumpet, so I grabbed that off him and started playing it, and then it became my first instrument. And there's been periods of my life where I've moved away from music, but I always seem to gravitate back to it. Whether or not I'm trying to promote it, I'll always come back to music.
And what about songwriting? Where did that start?
I've always been interested in songs and lyrics, and that always drew me in, but when I first started off, it was more music, and I was involved in bands, but maybe I was the bassist or in the back, sort of back from the limelight, I guess, and writing. And then my first songs, even for years, were just quite gibberish and sort of just firing out things and getting ideas out. But as I progressed through the years, I sort of realised that it's a way to convey my own message and thoughts and feelings, in a way for me to deal with issues, but then also that can be portrayed by other people, either by the similar thing I'm thinking of, but also you can take a song and it can mean something completely different to you, but it has as much meaning. So I've always been into songs that touch me in a way, and that's naturally then the music that I seem to create.
And who would have been your big influences?
When I was younger, it was actually I was a lot into Brian Kennedy. I loved his songs and his writing, and Van Morrison, and then Mum and Dad would have played a lot of 60s and 70s music on the record player. And then as I got more into songwriting, I was into David Gray quite a lot, his lyrics. But really all types of music, bands. I was into late 90s, was into trance music. I went to Ibiza and did all that scene. And then I'm into bands. Was in a band as well called The Minority, and we were a rock band and played electric guitar in it, and we were quite loud. And then now I'm listening to a lot of things. I'll put on classical FM, listen to that. I can listen to ambient music, but I'll always be drawn back to anything lyrical. It seems to be the main focus. Even if there's a line in a song that does something to me, that's where I will gravitate towards.
So what are plans for the rest of the year now? Are you thinking about the next album?
We actually have some recordings and demos already made that we've been working on the past couple of years. So they're sort of ready in place, and I'll probably release something reasonably quickly, get something new out, maybe an EP to test the waters, and keep writing, working with the band. And then, like I say, I've got a couple of festivals coming up and more gigs, and just keep pushing and trying to find new ways to move forward.
So any gigs we should know about then?
The next gig here is for a company called Pop-Up, and it's the 2nd of July. It's a Monday night, it's a free gig in Love and Death, and that's an acoustic gig with some other acts, and it's actually visual and audio recorded as well, so that should be a good intimate gig. Okay,
before you go, you do one more song for us.
We'll do another song from the album. It wasn't a single, but it's a great track, I think, and we had good feedback from it, and it's a song called A Good Place for us.
Okay, here we go. Let's hear A Good Place then.
Light, a flickering light, a glass that shields the light, not an off switch on a cord, a glow, a golden glow, the warmth can fuel your soul, not a dial on a wall. They're sending signals on a line. Good news matures over time. With their hands by their sides, no distractions on the mind. It was a good place for them. It's a good place for us. It's just right. The warmth could hold you tight. A hood that will feel the rain. Kids playing safely in the street. Real times where people truly meet. With their hands by their sides, no distractions on the mind. It was a good place for them. It's a good place for us. And I say this all as if there wasn't any pain. Good things have come from us, much we have gained. But there's a light in my heart. Still flickers in that glass. Maybe this'll pass. It was a good place for them. It's a good place for us.
Like the hummingbird, you came and went, moving so fast but not making any sense. Burrowed into your audience in a bright blue feather coat. And on my knees I begged and plead, one more time, do it just for me. Dance in circles round those trees and kindly hum along. And though there may be times the architecture comes to life, well, from down here it's not so bright. Thy so bright beak full of nectar can only do my best to protect her. Such a little beating heart that neither stops nor starts. It's easy to lose track of time, the morning's verse, the chorus line, and you don't have to slow down now, just please keep it in mind. And when you do let the world catch up with you, well, you'll be amazed at the view. not that much seems real to me. Amazement or melancholy, and it's been like this for 2 or 3 weeks, but I don't notice lately. And when you do let the world catch up with you, well, you'll be amazed at the view.
Oisin O'Scully and the man himself joins me in the studio. Welcome.
How you doing?
So tell us all about the track Hummingbird. How did it all come about?
Oh, that was from last summer, I think. It's going to be on this album I'm bringing out very soon. I think it took place, I was watching David Attenborough, I think it was Planet Earth, pretty amazed by the birds all, I know, trying to woo each other with their bright colours, and I just thought that wasn't a million miles off what we do in bars and stuff, so thought I could relate to that in some way.
So you've got the new album coming out soon. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, so that's coming out through a record label here in Belfast called Black Jack Records. It's run by Robb and G Shields, who I'm a big fan of. Been listening to him a long time, and I think it was about 2 years ago I sent him some of my songs, and amazingly he got back to me, and now he's going to put out my album, which was something I never thought would happen. I don't really have a release date for it yet, but it's all coming together at some point quite soon. It's 10 tracks, and I believe it was all recorded at home. No fancy studios. It was all between 2 or 3 different houses I lived in. Just sort of set up a couple of studios there, and really roughed it, but it all came together nicely enough.
So how long have you been involved in the whole music scene then? Was music something you always wanted to do right from an early age?
I think so. It's the only thing I'm really qualified to do. I think it's this or answering phones for a living. So yeah, I think I started writing and recording music when I was about 13 years old, and I put out something awful. I think it was like songs written and recorded in a bedroom, and that might be out there still somewhere. I don't recommend looking for it, but yeah, it all started back then. Yeah.
So you're originally from Donegal?
That's right, yeah.
And you must have been surrounded by great traditional music and stuff around that area.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, at the time, it didn't interest me at all, and it's not something that I really raised until I moved away. That, God, it was amazing. I was blessed to be surrounded by music like that, and yeah, some great musicians coming out of there as well as Derry as well.
Yeah, because from that Gaeltacht area, you've got the kind of likes of Clannad and Elliott and stuff as well, haven't you?
I used to drink in Leo's, which was their sort of spot. Yeah, never met them personally, but.
So then you moved to Derry, and of course there's a great music scene in Derry, isn't there?
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, I play with a backing band called the Virginia Slims, who do a couple of shows with me, and I mean that consists of anywhere between 10 and 18 members. It's just whoever's available, and there's so many people in Derry that are just great musicians. I'm constantly borrowing band members from other bands. So
what are plans then for the rest of the year? Once you get the album out, are you going to do some gigs based around that?
Some gigs, and I want to start recording this EP straight after. It's kind of halfway there, so keep the ball rolling, get something out straight away.
All right. Are you an ambitious person?
I'd like to say so, but maybe. I've got a couple of things out, 1 or 2 EPs, which I've done by myself and self-produced, and at this time I kind of took a bit of a step back because I've got the label and the amazing Ben McCauley helped me out with the production as well, so it's nice to have somebody else have a hand in it too and not, relieve some of the stress from myself.
So what about long-term goals? Where would you love to see yourself?
Well, if I could do this for a living, that would be great. At the moment I answer phones for a broadband provider, which isn't exactly the dream.
Will you do one more song for us before you go?
Absolutely, yeah.
What are you going to do this time?
I'm going to do a song called Paper Beach Part 2. I wrote a song called Paper Beach a couple of years ago, put it out. A very standard folk song, very sentimental, but I think years later I realised it's not really an accurate representation. I think I'm trying to take myself a lot less seriously, so I'm reflecting on that and having a laugh at myself, I suppose.
All right, well thank you for coming in and joining us today.
Thank you, Rob.
And let's hear Paper Beach Part 2 then.
I get high as hell, Most of the time I can't tell if I'm awake or asleep. Keep the light on for me, wish me fairly well. When the cancer takes my body, when my blood turns to wine, just wanna see everybody ever played in a band with have a good time. 'Cause I lived easily, much too easily, see them cry. 'Cause we're showmen by trade, but we're no good at saying goodbye. So I live strictly by an aesthetic of a folk singer in hard times. But I made every penny back, exploiting it online. And every indie blog review was simply sublime. So I beg you, supercomputer, won't you give me more time? To write more stories, whimsical rhymes, throw outrageous parties with people who still listen to grime. So strike a match, bury me in a paper beach. 'Cause when I'm taking all of these hipsters with me. And I assure you that I mean that ironically.